I've been playing the 120 update since pre-release 3. I chose to play in a survival world. I changed my own single player world to 120, and I have played through the releases since then. I've had the odd crash and the odd glitch, but my overall impression of 120 is even before the pre-release candidates. It's playing really well. I'm so glad I chose to play through it in a survival world rather than just playing in a creative world and spawning things in. I feel that I've got a very good grasp of what this update is about and how it's going to feel when we get it. My first point about this update is it is huge, absolutely huge. I've played so many updates. I remember when weather came in, I remember when rifts came in, I remember when temporal instability came in, when they changed the world generation. None of those updates feels as large as this one. For some reason, this update feels as if the world has expanded, blown up, blossomed. It just seems to have opened up completely. Ruins is an area that I have not yet quite grasped when it comes to the 120 update. You can see on my map here that I have marked where the 120 update came in, and so I know, here you are, this little star, west extent of 119. So looking at this area here, this is all 120 generated land, and the thing that strikes me more than anything else is the lack of ruins. Now, ruins are much harder to spot now, mostly because they are matching in terms of the stone, the surrounding area, so you can find that you've got ruins, but they don't show up so much because they match the stone of the surrounding area. Fair enough. However, yeah, see here, you wouldn't believe you've got a ruin there until you get up close and you see you've got this little bit of grey. But what I feel I'm missing, and remember I'm on the coloured map, so I can see ruins very easily. What I feel I'm missing are the large square arenas, the big churches. I feel that we've got much, much smaller ruins. And in the days of, as in the last map I worked, which was my map 4, I took down a square arena and built a house out of it. I think the days of being able to build a house out of a ruin are few and far between, unless you are lucky enough to find this sort of arrangement, which is where you've got lots of small ruins together. So I think that ruins are changing quite substantially, but I've not yet got a grip on how. One of the things I feel is that the world has come alive. Can you hear in the background that chittering sound? I think that the addition of insects, whilst they have no possible use, is just pure magic. It's like the fireflies, it's like the glowworms. Adding insects to the map has made the whole thing completely come alive. And I have to say that the sounds that the new mobs make are very, very chilling indeed. I have to say that the new sounds are wonderfully chilling and totally alien. So on the one hand, we've got these wonderful insects, on the other hand, the chilling sounds of the new mobs. Let me show you what I mean. One of the biggest changes to me, and the most magical, is the addition of insects. We've got these little tiny grasshoppers. We've got little tiny water boatmen over here. And over some of our ponds we have gnats. The world has come alive. The insects make such a difference. Can you hear them? wonderful, isn't it? To me, the insects don't do anything. You can't use them or anything, but they just make the world come alive. And the nice thing is they're not all over the place. You sort of come out of an insect-ridden area and then you go into one again. Absolutely amazing to me what a difference insects make to this game. And I hadn't really thought it would make that much difference, but it does. Wow, did you hear that? Fantastic. We now have these new mobs called deep. This is a deep shiver. I'm in creative. Listen to the sound. And this can climb. This can climb very, very well. Make no mistake. And can you hear the echo? The caves now echo. And these are the shivers. This is what they do. They curl up and shiver. The sound is amazing too. I mean, it's fine when you're in creative. It is fine when you're in creative. But if you're not in creative, that's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. I love the two new mobs, I really do. I think they're both well designed, but I prefer the Bowtorn. I think it's a spectacular design. And I love both their sounds. They do make me shiver. So with the sounds of the insects and the echoing of the caves and the new sounds of the mobs, it truly has enhanced the game in my view. One of the major concerns I have about this update is in relationship to the two new mobs. I think that instead of substituting some of the drifters with these two mobs, when I'm underground, it feels as if the two new mobs, the Bowtorn and the Shiver, are spawning in addition to the drifters. And it may have changed now. I have a feeling they may have eased back on the spawning. But when it's been a night of high rift activity here, it has been impossible to go outside. And I have to say I am now a lot more concerned about going underground because of these two mobs. The Bowtorn is particularly difficult to deal with because it fires arrows at you. And what's really irritating is you don't get to get any arrows from it. It drops the odd flax, but no arrows. But it's a particularly difficult mod to deal with. So as I said, my concern here is the sheer volume of mods that we might have to cope with underground. Builders have been completely and utterly spoiled. For a start, look at this. This is going to be a stunning building material. It's wattle and daub. It's not difficult to get hold of. Instead of having mud huts, I can quite see us having wattle and daub. And the actual wattle fences that are made of sticks, I think are great. The fences and gates, beautiful design, absolutely beautiful. The other thing about it, of course, and I fell in love with this material, that the wattle and daub depends on what sort of sand you have. So this one, here we are, raw daub, let's go back. daub. Here we are. Yeah, you can see that if you want tan, it comes with granite sand. Ashen is the limestone. The blue you have to actually make. But the brown comes with basalt. Golden brown, sandstone. This light brown is the peridotite. I'm very interested in that, the fact it's light brown, that colour. That looks more like chert sand to me. Oh, hang on. Light brown comes with chert sand, I'm right, or peridotite. And then you've got just phyllite sand, gives you this weathered brown. So all these different colours, and each lot, according to how much you click on the daub, you can get this rough texture where you've got more of the grain showing through, this smoother texture or this silky texture here, and that comes in all the different colours. So wow, what a wonderful building material. I just can't see myself building a barn of anything else. Gorgeous. Added to that, the fact that we have a new brick oven, and we can fire up to 270 plus bricks at any one time, which if you're building is wonderful. And the range of colours you can get just by the number of doors you have open. And you've got 4 options. One is with the 3 back doors shut, and this door shut. And this door, by the way, is beautiful. I can see a lot of people making this door just because it's so beautiful. But then you've got 1 shut, 2 shut, 3 shut on top of that. And that's what gives you the right firing temperatures for these absolutely gorgeous blocks. Really beautiful. Very, very nice. And this is fire clay. So you've got the blue clay over here that fires to these 4 here. The red clay fires to these 4. And the fire clay fires to this. It's fantastic. It's also not too expensive. And the beauty for me is that this kiln fires on firewood. So that's fantastic. Now within this you can get different levels of shelf and stuff like that, so that you can actually fire planters. Now at the moment my planters all came out like this, but if I look at jug, again the different types of clay, raw red clay, raw blue clay, I think that firing in this brick kiln is going to give us these different colours of jugs. Yeah, obtained, and I think we're going to be able to do this just in this brick oven. I may be wrong, but if we can do it with the jugs, my goodness, we can do it with the planters. So the builders have been given a feast of options and brick colours, wattle and daub colours. I mean, how wonderful is that? But it doesn't end there, guys. It doesn't end there. Any builder is thrilled to have any new blocks at all, but we've got 2 more wooden blocks that are fantastic. Firstly, we now have 2 different types of trapdoor. We have one with slats in it and a solid door, and they come in different wood colours. So basically every wood colour you've got will have a solid trapdoor and a slatted trapdoor. Isn't that going to be wonderful? That's such a step forwards. On top of that, look at this. Slanted wood roofing. How long have we wanted that? I've been putting, steps of wood on roofs for a long time, but this slanted look is gorgeous. And what I find most amazing is, I know these are supposed to be shingles, but to me these look like little dead faces. They look like skulls. I think the slanted bull cypress roof is the nearest thing I've seen to a skull roof. I love it. I absolutely love it. And this is going to make everything much, much easier. I mean, my current building here is made of the slate roofing, and you can see that. And we've got this lovely, lovely slanting effect. But can you imagine how good that's going to look in wood? I'm almost tempted to take the slate roof off and start again. But again, a great, great plus for builders. And there is one in ruins as well. I don't know if I've got enough of the new bricks here. If I do, I'll have them downstairs. Let me just show you some of the things that I'm enjoying. Some came in 1.19, but some are obviously coming in 1.20. We've got these beautiful aged limestone ashlar blocks, polished rocks, limestone, and I'm finding that more and more in the ruins have one or two of these really, really nice bricks in. And also in the ruins, the loot is a lot better in 120. There's some good thought gone into that. So basically for the builders, oh my word, what treats have we got here? And that's just going to be wonderful. And all this, these are survival blocks. They're not creative anymore. I think it's a huge, huge set of options that have now been laid in front of us who like building. I'm out here on a rainy day showing you our new red clay. I thought this was going to be a very sort of orangey colour, like the orangey colour over there. But in fact it's a very, very attractive pinky colour. And this is our new clay colour. We're very lucky because we now have 3 different sorts of clay. We have the blue clay, the blue-grey clay that we've always had. We've got the far clay, though that is less likely to generate at high levels, as is the blue clay. The red clay, this is quite a high level, 128, so this is going to generate anywhere. The blue clay, I suspect, will be on the flatter lands, and the far clay will certainly create underground. But the good news is that we can make far clay. Here we go. And we can make it with either blue clay or red clay and powdered calcinated flint. That means that, you know, basically you powder the flint and then you burn it on a fire. And that gives 8. That's not bad. So we can make the far clay, which is fantastic. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's something that will enhance the game, having 3 different types of clay. Rafts have been improved enormously in that we are now able to put a reed chest on a raft, and there is space to stow an oar. So for example, I could go across to my pomegranate tree, just go across on the raft, get all the fruit, pop it in my basket and come home on the raft. It's really, really good. These rafts, I think, have been improved enormously. I think those 2 additions make that really, really a good tool now for local travel, The world has become more beautiful, particularly underwater. Up to now, frankly, underwater has always just been a bit of a desert. We've had this seaweed, but that's all we've had. We do have the lovely reeds and the beautiful papyrus that stick out, and we've recently had tule added. But look at this. Look at these beautiful, beautiful water lilies. I mean, these are truly gorgeous. And we've had more plants added, as well as the water lilies. We've actually got one that can be transferred back, and that is the feather milfoil. Now, a lot of plants can't be transferred. But I suspect that's just a matter of time where the other plants catch up to the feathered milfoil. But I am a huge lover of these giant lilies. I think they're beautiful. So we have even more beauty in the game. Oh my. I believe that the jungles have become more lush, or they look more lush. There looks to be a certain richness in the vegetation. There seem to be more vines. There just seems to be more in each jungle, which I think is lovely. So the jungles have, to me, a much lusher feel. But we have added a lot of beauty. Look at this. This is, let me put my little cursor on it. This is water crowfoot. Isn't that beautiful? It comes up and then it flowers. It's absolutely gorgeous. My only regret is at the moment we can't take it home with us. Work in progress. But underneath we have the musk grass, which is lovely. So really, really beautiful addition. And of course, we have the giant water lilies. I do know they were focused on some colours, but look at the vibrancy of the colour here. I think it looks fantastic. We've always had beautiful autumn colours, but these just seem particularly vibrant and attractive to me. I think they look absolutely gorgeous. So I do like the saturation of the colour. I think the autumn woods are looking absolutely spectacular now. I haven't altered my settings, but to my eyes, look at that. I mean, this looks just fantastic. I'm in creative. But isn't that wonderful, this look? It's fantastic. Very, very good indeed. There is a lot of rebalancing of the game, and certain very basic recipes have changed. For example, the quern. We've always been able to do it with just sticks before. They've now added a silver hammer. It doesn't have to be a silver hammer, but they've added a hammer and a chisel. So whereas before it was just 4 pieces of rock and 2 sticks, we now have to have a hammer and a chisel. So beforehand, this was accessible without a chisel, but now we have to have that chisel and that hammer. It's a small difference. Another difference is candles. More realistic. We just make candle. There we go. We used to be able to just put 3 beeswax. We now have to cook it in a pot. So we have to have 3 beeswax and a flax to make a candle. It's perfectly reasonable. This is how you make candles. You melt wax, you stick a wick in it, and you get a candle. So it's not unreasonable. It is just a slight rebalancing though. There are other things such as raw fish giving slightly less sustenance. And you can't get an ancient bed anymore with an axe. That always used to be the sort of go-to bed to start with. If you found one of those in a ruins, oh, how lucky were you? But now you have to use glue. And the same with seating. You can no longer get the ancient seats. You have to use glue to get them. And I'm hoping that we will still be able to pick up the tapestries without glue. But this bed I picked up using glue, and then found to my horror it doesn't function as a bed. Only the ancient beds seem to function as beds. But that rebalancing again means it's just a little bit more difficult to get hold of a bed earlier in the game. I'm a bit worried about the torch holders. I've seen a recipe for a ruined torch holder I hope they're not going to take that away from us. Exploration has become faster and easier. We've got 2 superb forms of transport now. We have elks that don't actually look superb while they're fast asleep on the floor, but they are superb. And we have boats. I think this is incredible. I love both of these. I love the idea of being a nomad. I love the fact that you can put the elk in the boat so you can utilize both forms of transport. I suspect there are some people who are just going to enjoy being nomads, and it is so tempting to just to sail the world. If you have all the seas linked up, it would be fantastic. It's a huge step forwards in this game. I think that it's a brilliant job that's been done. The feel of it is fantastic when you get onto the boat, when you get onto the elk. Hello, elk. I'm just hovering a bit at the moment. I'm being creative. It's just absolutely fantastic. And I think the fact that the traders will sell the beautiful blankets that we've got here, the fact that we'll be able to add saddlebags, that we'll be able to add lanterns, that we'll be able to add cooking pots, the whole thing is just fabulous. Your elk becomes a mobile home. It's terrific. You can even add a bedroll. I mean, it's just terrific. And the same with the boats. I think the design of the boats is absolutely beautiful. I am a sailor, and sailing on the boats feels very good to me. Being on the boats, the look of the boats, it all feels really, really good to me. So these 2 elements that allow us to explore more easily, these are a game changer. These are a real game changer. I also like the fact that if you look on the map, you can see this little green arrow, tamed elk, owned by you. We can actually find our elks, and I have no doubt at all that we will get the same for the boats. The boat also, I believe, has something that says who it's made by, so that we can claim our own boats and own our own boats. Same as when we put the beautiful medallions on the elks. It shows us who owns them. So I really, really like all these details that have been put in to make it a viable option on servers as well as on single player worlds. To me, this is a phenomenal, phenomenal development, and it's been brilliantly done, brilliantly realised. This is why I think this is a game difference that is vaster than anything we've had in any update before. I think that the different methods of transport, getting us swiftly around the map, the amazing variety of bricks and colours, wattle and daub that's been given to the builders. I just feel the whole thing is much, much better as a game than it was before. My concerns over 120, I'm not sure where they're going with the ruins. That isn't apparent to me yet. And I have a concern about going underground because of the sheer number of mobs that were spawning under there. Maybe they'll address that. The other point is an observation, though it's not a concern. And that is that the beginning of the game is going to be slower. You can't get a quern until you have an anvil, because you have to forge a chisel on an anvil. You know, you need to get flax, cooking pots, before you can get candles. It's just small changes like that that I don't actually object to. I think they're very realistic, and none of them are going to cause the sort of, you know, real problems you get early in the game. So it's, all in all, I just think this is an absolutely brilliant, brilliant upgrade. I don't think I will keep going in this world when the full upgrade comes through. I will have a look at the release candidates, obviously, before then, because I think there are still further changes being made, and I will be picking up all the changes. And if any of you haven't seen my videos on 120, I have looked in detail at some of the things that I've shown you today, and certainly making boats, you know, dealing with the elk, how to get hold of one and that sort of thing, and the kiln I go to in a lot of detail. So if you do want more detail on this update, do have a look at my videos. But all in all, I'm in awe of what the developers have achieved so far. So, a more dangerous world, a more beautiful world, a more complex world, but to me, a far more exciting world, and a world that seems to have really come far more alive. So what a fantastic update. Well done, the devs. Bye bye, my friends. If you like this video, leave a like, consider subscribing.